Well, good afternoon and welcome to another segment of Around Town. We're very fortunate here to have Kathryn O'Brien from the TriTown Transcript.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So, how did you get started in this business?
Oh, let's see. Well, I received a degree in English and stopped by my local hometown, which was Melrose at the time, and popped in and said, here I am, and they said, can you go to planning board tonight? So I said, sure, and the rest is history. So now I do Boxford selectmen. So. But I've been in the business since roughly 1979, off and on, teaching in the middle a little bit, and came back to the TriTown, I think in November of 2010, when I started as the full-time editor of the TriTown Transcript.
Okay, so how different is Melrose in terms of coverage from, say, from the TriTown? I mean, we know it's obviously a much larger metropolitan area.
Right. They have about 30,000, and TriTown, if you add all three of us together, and not to mention there's three separate governments, three planning boards, a lot more things going. And just because we're smaller doesn't mean there isn't anything going on, because there's lots of zoning issues everywhere, and all kinds of things. So Melrose had a city board of aldermen. So they were a little more official with the meetings, a meeting, and they have two, but about the same number of meetings, really. And same school. We have 5 school districts to cover, because we've got the 3 elementaries, TriTown Union, and Masconomet.
Right.
So we have our hands full with together, the TriTown. Yes.
Well, I've been my wife and I have been long-term subscribers.
Great.
And it's, you don't get any local coverage in any other paper except for the TriTown.
Yeah, we try hard to keep it all local. I mean, other papers in our chain sometimes add Beacon Hill Roll Call or regional calendars, but I just put in Boxford, Topsfield, Middleton, pretty much all.
Okay.
The back section has real estate ads that go all over.
Yeah.
But we have to make money,
Well,
support
I'm glad you're making money, because that means you'll be around.
That's why the ads are necessary. A lot of people complain about the ads, maybe if the ads aren't TriTown ads, but just because the restaurant is in Danvers or something's in Boston and they want to promote, even Tufts University might put in an ad, But that pays out, that helps bring you your news.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, some of your favorite stories?
Okay, well, one at the top of the list would be the beer-drinking cows.
I think the official title is Beer Bashing Bovines.
Yes, yeah, that was the headline. We had a lot of fun with that. There are a lot of different things you could say there. And so did all the national news networks once they got a hold of the story.
So how did you find out about something like that?
Well, we got a hot tip on a Sunday night, and I got, through the emails, somebody said, you got to check out the police log when you go in this week. I go once a week to get the police news. And I asked Lieutenant Ryder when I went in, did you know anything about beer-drinking cows? And then, of course, the story came out, and apparently the cows had gotten loose from the Maple Street farm and took a ride down, walked down Main Street, and I think it was in May, the month of May, and they just found a party going on down the street and decided to crash it. And I think the girls, they were adult young women at the party.
Out of college.
Out of college. I think they were nurses. A couple of them were nurses, I think.
I think I actually coached one of them when she was in 7th or 8th grade in softball.
Yeah, and they just, they
panicked.
They panicked and all ran up on the deck, and they dropped their drinks, half of them, and the cows came right in and just slurped it up. And somebody caught it on pictures and then submitted photos. And
so you're going to get me that picture so I can insert it in, okay?
Well, you'll have them.
Yeah.
we wouldn't lose those. Those are classics, yeah.
So speaking of police logs, you said there's a rule change, right?
Yes, involving young juveniles and arrests. And it used to be that we would print anybody under age, or over age 17 and over would get their name in the paper if they were caught for anything. And arrested. And now they've raised it so that we will not print the names of 17-year-olds anymore. 18 and above, though, you will get your name in the paper, so try not to do it that way.
Well, I mean, and what's, as a parent, we always, what these kids need to understand is just because their name isn't printed in the paper doesn't mean
Right.
that they won't have a record.
Right, that's right. We get calls every Monday morning, not every Monday morning, but on a regular basis. We get calls from distraught parents who say, please keep my son or daughter's name out of the police log, you know, and we don't play favorites with anyone.
Yeah.
So if they've been arrested and it goes in. What we don't do is put it online. We don't put arrests online because we want to be sure they have the right to be, you know, to a fair, to be,
Have
you
a
know,
fair trial or whatever.
and,
yeah.
and they can, there was a case where a North Andover woman was on medication and she was arrested and her name got in the North Andover paper and she was free, you know, found not guilty. She was just had taken an extra med or
Yeah.
something. She wasn't drunk and they dropped the
Right.
charges.
Yeah.
So you have to take it down offline. So
Yeah.
we don't do that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I remember a few years back, some girls at a party in Lockwood Forest,
Oh.
and there was all sorts of evidence, and somebody forgot their digital camera that had
Oh, no.
pictures of all these girls
Oh.
drinking beer, and that
Yeah.
got back to
Right.
Principal Culver, and she made
Right.
sure that justice was
Yeah.
done.
Teens
Yeah.
should be really careful what
Yeah.
they tape and
Yeah.
photograph and all that. Yes. Yeah, and the police are tightening up too because last spring when they would, even in the past, they would go to parties and the Boxford police would come and you know, knock on the door, and a lot of times the kids, and you know, there was that birthday party on
The
Herrick
50th
Road, the 50th,
50th
the famous
birthday
50th,
party, yeah.
where they all ran off into the woods and everybody's fine, they get away, but they're catching on a little. And now this last party, about a month ago, the kids they found that there was a party, and they called for backup, and they had North Andover and Haverhill and Georgetown and Boxford surrounding the house. So don't get caught at these parties. And that story made national headlines
Yeah.
too, because the North Andover girl at the party, who just came to pick up her friend, she wasn't even drinking,
Yeah.
and the Boxford police said she wasn't drinking, but her school penalized her for
Right.
for just being at the party, and she couldn't play a few games, I think.
Right, she
Yeah.
volleyball. She was captain
Yeah.
of the volleyball
Yeah,
team.
so don't follow the rules.
Yeah. So the one thing I love about this paper is it's all local news.
Yes, we try very hard. Every page, every section, and one of our favorite parts. Everyone, whenever we go to the Apple Festival, we talk. I love going to the Apple Festival and talking to everybody and hearing what they like, or you can tell us what you don't like. We'll try to change or add things that we may have forgotten. Is that the Pet of the Week is one of our most popular features, and I don't know if you can. This week, a couple weeks ago, we had this really cute dog,
Can you
corgi.
You get a close up of that.
Yeah, and people just send them to us. We don't even have to go too far to find it, and you just send us a few photos, and we'll send you back a form, and you can fill it out and tell us everything you want us to know about your pet.
Yeah.
We've had horses, rabbits, cats, you know, and so.
Zebras, the
And
donkeys.
zonkey.
Zonkey,
recently. Yeah,
yeah.
part zebra, part donkey from Boxford. So.
So we're
And,
going to share. Okay.
And we also have a Your News section, which you send us any photos that you want, and we'll put in, you know, and also that includes weddings and engagements. And this particular week there were just beautiful sunsets everywhere with the fall foliage, and you know, just really nice. Yeah. So that's a whole different section. So
Yeah.
we're really a community-based paper, and we really want to promote all the good stuff happening in our towns. I mean, we don't hide the bad news. We cover if there's any crime or house breaks, you know, we're going to be the first
Right.
one
So-
on top two. But.
So how do you? I know you get a tip on the beer bashing bovines, but I mean, how do you find stories? Do the stories find you, or a
Well, you
combination
know,
of both?
we try to be in the communities, we go to the selectmen's meetings. And in Boxford, that's where it's sort of like a central service, because
Yeah.
everybody feeds into the selectmen, and Alan Benson is great at giving us all the backup. We get a packet this thick every Monday morning when there's a meeting, and I know we get a good grasp for something going on with the Haynes Land Committee or the zoning board or whoever. Usually they have to come in, especially during budget time. Everybody comes in, you know, and has to present all their projects for the year. So that way usually I can branch off with tips from those meetings and want to do a little more in-depth thing about whatever it is that's happening there. Or if someone gets an award, the Eagle Scouts get all their, they announce when their Court of Honor is, and we try to include them and have their whole stories of their community service projects, and so that's how it. And then people just do email us or call us and say, you know, something going on in my street because all the police cars are there, you know. Yeah. And we have a scanner at our office. The photography department has a scanner, and they know if there's been an accident in the road, right, or something really bad that's going on.
Now, viewers, fires, you said viewers also have sent in articles.
Oh yes, yep, yeah. Someone from Topsfield Main Street Improvement Society. They're kind of, they did some great work over the past 10 years. Mm-hmm. But they're sort of, they've only got a couple members right now, and they're looking to redo, but they still have some work to do. They already put in a nice walking path. They put in the Welcome to Topsfield sign that you see out on Route 1. And they've done...
Oh, yeah, we'll put a picture of that right now.
And there's benches. They've done lots of, it really looks very nice, but they still have more work to do, and they asked us if they could write us something up.
Okay.
And there's a nice page in this past week's paper with the whole story and, you know, how you can get in touch with them. Yeah.
Yep. And we also have some contributing writers like Doreen Burles and Linda Greenstein.
We have freelancers. Yeah. We have a half-time reporter, Anna Burgess, who's new to the staff for about a month ago. And in addition to her, she covers mostly Middleton and Topsfield news. Mm-hmm. And so she's covering Topsfield Selectmen and Middleton Selectmen and tries to fill in with everything else there. And she occasionally does some Boxford things too. But we have freelancers. Doreen Burles, who has been a regular columnist, has just started writing features. Like she did this nice story on a winery in town that two men are running from their home. And she also does her weekly columns, long story short, which you can find on the editorial page.
Right.
And Linda Greenstein also has been working with us for quite a while now. She actually was one of the employees who worked for the Village Reporter when that paper was in town, and she did features for them. And she came along with us when they had to close down. So we get a variety of different things. So if you have a story tip, you can call Linda or Doreen. Or as well as the office, or email us, and we'll be glad to follow up on them.
Yeah. And Doreen's weekly column is really well done. I just love reading it.
Yeah, she does a great job. Oh, we have one other columnist I should mention too. Esther Beard also writes a column. They go every other week.
Okay.
Column, and Esther writes about her big dog she has, and her two daughters, and really she does some funny stuff too. So. Yeah, so we have. I think it makes it a more interesting paper when you have lots of different people contributing. Yes. And so, we do our best to keep it all wicked local. Is our name, which you can find us online. That's where you find us, Wicked Local, Boxford, or that you just need those 3 words to type in, and you'll find us, or Topsfield or Middleton.
So you've also brought some video clips.
I have. Yep.
So what are we going to show?
Well, we're going to show, let's see, we'll start with the graduation one.
Oh, okay, so why don't you set that one up for us.
Okay, and was taken, apparently it's a tradition, I think, every year, where the seniors, on graduation day, right before they enter the field house, they line up and make a bridge, 2 sides, like a, kind of like, and they make a bridge. They put their arms up like on either side, and the teachers run through, and then they all hoot and holler and just like, thank their teachers for, and the teachers all run through all excited.
And I've done taped graduations for years, and I never knew that happened.
I know. I just saw it.
My own
2012 is when I
My own daughter didn't even tell me.
Right. I never knew they did it for my children.
Okay.
I've been covering several too.
So let's show that one now.
Okay.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, that is. They have a lot of fun, I think. Yeah. I think we're all very proud of our Masco kids.
Definitely.
They all, you know, go far.
Well, I know Boxford Cable TV relies upon kids from Masco to film events for us and that sort of thing.
Yep.
We wouldn't have anything to show if we didn't have Masco students.
Right. Oh, good.
Yeah.
And we have. I mean, we also print all the honor roll lists and the high achievers. That's how I know that after they leave Masco, they do well because we get back all the college announcements and dean's lists and all their trips abroad and such. And it takes us. We get so many in the spring that it takes me almost till August, and I run like 80 inches of high achievers every week. And none of the papers around me have that going on.
I know, it
is
amazing.
You know, the parents are calling me, you know, my daughter graduated, when will it be in? I said, we'll get there, we'll get there. But it's, and then of course honor rolls are people, everyone wants to see their kids in the paper.
Yeah.
And the kids work hard, so they deserve, that's their credit. Yeah.
So, I think another video you have is the Relay for Life.
Yes, we try to cover that every year as well. And we don't always take videos, but sometimes just the still life photography.
Yeah.
But I know it always kicks off at around 5 o'clock on a Friday night in the middle of June, I think it is, the second or third weekend in June. And
it's like 2 weeks after graduation, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And it's on the Masco field, and the kids they get teams together to raise money for cancer research, and they go out and they put tents all around the track, and they stay there all night long and walk the track.
Yeah.
But it kicks off with a special survivors walk, and every year all cancer survivors in the TriTowns, all 3 towns, are invited to come and be part of this walk. The first loop that they make is the cancer survivors. It's really just so sweet.
Very touching.
Yeah, and it starts off with speeches, and they always have a guest speaker who's very compelling.
So let's take a look at the cancer survivor segment.
So this is just just a very brief clip of the very beginning of the walk as they start to the music that they play.
That is very touching.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a great event. It really is. And anyone can contribute to any team, you know.
Yep.
And they raise, I think they raised something like $70,000 this year.
It was
$60,000 or $70,000.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah, every year they do quite well. Yeah. Yep.
So you mentioned some pictures as well. You have a story coming up this week.
We have a series on the Topsfield Congregational Church. They have a huge birthday celebration this year. They're 350th year.
Wow.
I mean, who has 350 birthdays? Any organization, it's amazing. But they were like the beginning of the Topsfield town government. And we have this week we actually profiled all the buildings of the church. Mm-hmm. And one of the buildings is the one you're going to see, which is what they think it looked like in the 1650s or 60s, I think it was.
Yeah. We actually have that showing now.
Right, and it's got that where when it would have had a stockade around it.
Yeah.
And that was that was also when Boxford was part of the few people who lived in Boxford would have belonged to that Topsfield church, and they were one. And the church was at the Pine Grove Cemetery, where, just outside on Route 97.
Just
outside
before you get to Topsfield, Ipswich Road.
Right there at that big intersection.
Yeah. Wow.
And so it was only about 2 miles. Boxford people only had 2 miles to come in, and Topsfield. But then they eventually got separated. Boxford had its own by early 1700s. So, but that's quite a. So they're having they've had a year-long celebration in Topsfield, and I'm putting together the series. Next week will be the ministers. Story about some of them were not so. Some of them were great, and some of them not so great. Some of them drank a lot. They said, got into trouble, got kicked out. But anyway, it's a very, very interesting history. So, and then we're going to end it with. I went to their they had a church celebration recently, and they unveiled a quilt that all the parishioners made. They all contributed a square, and I went and talked to a lot of them at a luncheon where Martha Morrison gave a speech, and I got to meet them firsthand and talk about the church of today and why it's so important to them. And that's going to be one of the final stories. The final story is that they're getting a new minister in December. And Linda Greenstein will be writing about the new minister coming. So it's like a 6-part series.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, thanks to Martha Morrison for providing some of the
Yeah, she's
text.
wonderful. I talked with her on, taking over for a year the Boxford Topsfield cable station. She was really wonderful to deal with. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what else is
we
going on?
We have one more video clip of the Masco Middle School when they did a production a couple years ago. We were there for that.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the Roof,
right.
yep.
Yeah.
So this is really a nice little clip of the kids just all in costumes, and shows how much thought goes into these Masco productions. The kids did, the teachers and musical directors do a great job over there, and all of them are, we try to cover as many as we can. We can't always get video clips. We usually do photo galleries, which you can always find on the website, if not in the paper.
Yeah,
and this just shows
and because it's copyrighted material, Boxford Cable TV cannot film that stuff anyway. So, but we can show a clip.
Yeah, yeah.
And here it is.
Okay.
Wow, they definitely a lot of detail went into that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hopefully you recognize people from who are a couple years older now, but they might see themselves.
Well, that's good. So,
and then we also have, of course, the high school page, which the kids at the journalism class put together. And those kids, they actually...
That's the Chieftain Chronicles.
Right, right. And they send it to us. They prepare it all at the school, and they put it together. They send us a PDF every week. And, oh, here we are. And so it's all stories of things happening out at Masco. And they also work with our sports department and provide us with lots of sports stories too.
Okay.
That appear earlier in the paper, but they mostly just write about what's happening at school. One of the biggest, stories of I'm not sure what's
graduation tradition.
Oh, I thought that was very
gender
interesting.
Laws. Yeah.
Should the boys wear red and the girls wear white all the time, or should they be allowed to choose their own colors? That's what they're discussing this year. So I guess there's a debate going on. And school committee probably has the final say on that one, and whether or not they should keep it that way. But that's how it's done in most schools. But there's some kind of a law that changed that, I don't know, someone's questioning whether it has to be that way. So you never know.
You never know. Well, that's why you've got to read your local newspaper.
Yeah, so the kids do a good job at digging out some of the stories.
Yeah.
Most of them are just a lot of the good things that are going on in the school, but they ask some questions too and get into some of the issues over there. So it's interesting. It adds another dimension to the paper. And
I haven't seen it recently, but there used to be, what's your favorite? Or
I know, this year's class of journalists hasn't done that little feature yet. And I think sometimes, what they're doing is preparing clips for college, a lot of them, so they get to write more news stories in the early fall.
Oh, and then the spring.
When they get to after January and all the college packages are in, they have a little more fun with it, and they do their favorites. I love those questions. Question of the week.
Yes, yes.
And some of them are silly, but I read them, as you read them too. Obviously.
I read them absolutely. And the pet of the week.
Yeah, I know everyone reads it. So I had 26 people sign up at the Apple Festival this year to be pet of the week.
Wow, that's wonderful.
I thought that was pretty good. And although I'm having a hard time, if you signed up, please email me, because some of my emails have been bouncing back.
Okay.
And I want to make sure I include everyone. But
so the process for the pet of the week is simply
just send an email with a few pictures attached. You can also send an envelope, self-addressed, just an envelope with a couple pictures, hard pictures. hard copy pictures.
Right.
And but you have to send the write-up with just name, breed, age.
Interesting.
And then favorite foods, nibbles and bits is just anything fun you want to say. Some people do it in the first person of their pet, which is really hysterical too, that the pet is talking. And my favorite pet of the week, though, was the Cole School a couple years ago. The teacher had a cat named Bob, and she told the kids that if they all did practice there was something they had to do in school, I think handwriting. Oh, she had them all write letters. They had to write letters of to me, to the editor of the paper, and be persuasive letters, persuasive letter writing. I got 25 letters, all about Bob the cat and why he should be pet of the week. I ran a bunch of them and pictures, and they also got to have their prize was they got to have Bob got to come to class.
Wow.
In the spring at the end of the year, so that was one of the best pets of the week. And yeah. So it's fun. We have a lot of fun with it. We try to just keep it, like you say, really local.
Keep it local.
Yeah, and we have a new history series on page 2 every week, where we rotate the towns. Boxford, Topsfield's the first week, Middleton and Boxford's the third week of the month. And Martha Clark in Boxford, and the historical societies, Ann Barrett in Topsfield, and the Raynards and Henry Traggett in Middleton all help us. They submit one a week.
Okay.
And they just go dig out the old files, and we've had everything from a speakeasy in Boxford to the jail in Middleton where they kept the hobos. Some of the things they dig out. There's a moose coming soon, a moose in Boxford, back in 1942. That's Martha's next one. I think that might be this week, coming up next week.
Actually, speaking of Martha Clark, the document center's up on the adjacent to the Second Congregational Church in Route 133 in West Boxford. You should really go up there. Martha's got some great stuff she can show you. And
she's open on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
Because she's actually an archivist who works for the state.
Right.
So she just does this as a part-time kind of thing. But I send people to her all the time because they call and say, oh, I need an obituary from 1972 or something. Right. And I say the best thing is to
go see Martha.
Or you can go to the Topsfield Library. They all have it on film too. But Martha is pretty helpful.
Yeah, and she has some amazing documents up there, pictures, real old pictures of how Boxford used to look 100 years ago. I mean, it's
and more older than that.
Oh yeah.
Older. And they have all the original church records from Boxford, which were the government records.
Right.
So there's a lot of fascinating old documents. Yeah. And so that feature's been pretty popular too. I know people like seeing the past. Well.
So how's circulation been?
Actually, I'm pretty proud of the fact that we are one of the only 2 papers of our 120 in the state that had a circulation go up last year.
Wow.
It was small. It was like 2 or 3%, but a lot of papers today are on the decline and are having,
exactly.
The exact opposite. So we're pretty proud that
That's
our
nice.
local people are sticking by us, and want you to hopefully they will keep doing that.
Well, I hope so, because I enjoy reading it. And so, thank you for coming in. We're going to have Joshua Boyd, who's the sports editor. He'll be up next.
There's lots to talk about.
Yeah.
A lot of sports news these days.
Oh, it's been a busy sports week, certainly for Masconomet this week and this past week. And at one point, we had 5 teams in the playoff hunts, which is...
I know, in our newsroom, we have 16 newspapers in one newsroom, and they cover all 20 towns on the North Shore, and they're all jealous of us.
Yeah.
But Masco, again, you're in the playoffs again. So really, it's quite accomplished. It's quite a thing to be able to say that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in. And
glad to come
appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, and we should do this more often.
Yeah, we should.
Okay, good afternoon. This is Brad Sweet, and welcome to another edition of Around Town. I'm very fortunate to have Joshua Boyd from the TriTown Transcript with us, and welcome to Boxford.
Thank you very much.
Spend a lot of time in, I know.
It's a
part of your job.
Certainly Masconomet on the border of Boxford and Topsfield.
And Middleton.
And Middleton. They're all joined together.
Yep. So, anyway, how did you... It's a part of introduction. How did you get started in journalism?
Well, When I was a student at the University of Massachusetts, I worked for the Daily Collegian, daily newspaper on campus, covering music and arts at the time. I began working for our company, Gatehouse Media. At the time, it was known as Community Newspaper Company. I began working as a news reporter for the Amesbury News. And in 2000, fall of 2000, I became sports editor of the Ipswich Chronicle, Marblehead Reporter, and Swampscott Reporter.
Wow, Marblehead, Swampscott, and Ipswich. Must have been quite a drive or sail across Beverly Harbor.
Yeah, especially I was living in Lowell at the time, so it was a lot of driving.
A lot of driving, exactly. So, well, I know you've been covering, obviously, the Masconomet scene for the last, how many years?
I became a sports editor of the TriTown Transcript in July of 2005.
Okay. So that's like, what?
8 years.
8 years.
Yep.
So you must have a few memorable stories.
Oh, plenty. Plenty. You know, we can start one of the earliest big seasons that I covered was the girls soccer team of 2006. They were North champions that year and made it to the state semifinal. That was just a team loaded with talent.
Yeah, and that semifinal was in Weymouth, as I remember.
Yes.
Against Braintree? No.
Braintree, I believe.
And it was basically...
A one-girl show.
Well, basically what happened was...
On the Braintree side.
It was just a pass that was literally about an inch too long,
Yeah.
and the Braintree girl got on the end of it and drove it right into the net. And
Yeah,
that was a 1-0 game.
It was a tough one.
That was a tough one.
Yeah, but those girls were just a really good team, and Coach Paul Yannikakis has been there since the mid-'90s.
Yeah, 20-odd years, I think.
Yeah, she
19 years,
just does a terrific job with her teams.
And so let's go a little more recent to like maybe last Thursday night.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the most memorable. You know, I mean, Coach Dave Mitchell came in. You know, this is his third season. He had huge shoes to fill after Dr. Len Emmons was the head coach for 40 years.
Yeah.
Just about. And Coach Mitchell just came right in and took his first team to a state final in the Division I at the time.
Out against Ludlow.
Ludlow, yep. And Ludlow was a
another-
repeat state champion that year. So it wasn't quite Masconomet's time yet, but it became their time on Thursday night. So, and the great thing about this 2013 boys soccer team, it was not a team of one or two superstars.
It was a team.
It was such a team. I mean, this team had from, you know, Willie Stewart in the net, Jeff Piniella on defense. I mean, and they would not have been in the state final had it not been for P.J. Crisione's overtime goal against Winchester.
Yeah, that
in
Winchester.
the very first game of the state tournament. You know, they're not there last Thursday night if not for that overtime goal.
Yeah, my pick for hustler of the game was PJ. I mean, the shortest kid in the team heads a goal into the net to win a
Absolutely.
chance to go to the state
Absolutely,
tournament.
a great moment for them.
He hustled all of Thursday night as well.
Yep. And then I got to see them against Tech Boston Academy in the North semifinals. And that was a very interesting game. I mean, it was two very different types of soccer. You know, Masconomet was just very, you know, well coached. You know, obviously, and you know they're so systematic in their approach. And then this Tech Boston Academy team was just pure athleticism. You know, pure hustle, and just very scrappy. Not physical, not dirty at all, but just scrappy.
Yeah.
They just got in on every ball, and they were in Masconomet's face every moment. I hand it to them. They really gave Masconomet a good run that night.
I did not see that game, but just for the folks out in the audience, Thursday night was 1-1 at the half.
Oh boy! Then boom, right away in the early
Well,
portion.
15 seconds into it, Jeff Piniella had a concussion. He had to come out of the game, so they brought in junior Justin D'Orlando.
Yep.
His touch went to here, a cross over to there, and into the net. And in 4.5 minutes, they scored 3 goals.
Absolutely.
Absolutely outstanding.
Then Walpole answered, made 4-2, but...
And then we had a red card, and we had to play down for 30 minutes, but they pulled it together. And,
absolutely, and congratulations
that
to
was
the
a lot of
Chieftains.
fun.
Coach Mitchell and his boys really were able to bring another banner to Masconomet, so that gym's filling up fast.
And hockey. How about hockey?
Hockey this year, both sides are, I think, are going to be really good teams. You know, on the girls' side, I think there's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah.
Obviously, a big question with the graduation of Alex Jones is who's going to play net for the Masconomet co-op team next year. Hopefully, they can find a goalie in Masconomet, Hamilton, Wenham, Triton, Newburyport, North Andover, or Georgetown. Somewhere in those towns, those school districts, hopefully there's a girl.
And the reason why those school districts were involved is a cooperative team, so they got enough players out of Masconomet, out of Boxford, Topsfield, and Middleton to form a team. So I believe the league has allowed cooperative teams.
Yes, and there's a lot of them, like Beverly Gloucester is one. I think there's a Danvers Salem team. On the boys' side, there's some co-op teams too, like Hamilton, Wenham, Salem. There are some boys' teams on both sides, co-op teams on both sides.
Well, we taped several girls' games last year. Chris Nowak from Middleton and I, he did play-by-play. Also, we had Eric Onifree in on it, who's since graduated and is out at Lowell, Lowell.
UMass Lowell.
Yeah, UMass Lowell. And, so we're looking forward to doing this again because we love the Talbot rink up in Gloucester. It's a great place to video.
And I think you're going to see a lot from. I can't wait to see the sophomore year of Kylie Currier from Masconomet. She had an outstanding freshman year.
Yeah,
so
she did. She was
you know, there are some other girls from some of the other towns. A couple of Georgetown girls who Jensina Mona and Katie Turbin, who should do really well this year, and you know, and Maddie Werner from Hamilton Wenham. All those girls, I mean, you know, they couldn't do it with just one school, like you said.
Right.
So they take all this talent, and you know, unfortunate shootout last year against Austin Prep, but you know, they were so close, and I'd like to see what they can do this year. And like I said, hopefully they can find a really good goalie to take to fill Alex Jones' skates.
Well, and this is purely stupid on my part, but the best part about going to Talbot Rink is the mothers make the best cookies in the world.
There you go. That's
We're only
a good
in it
thing.
for the cookies, but
So
yeah,
on the boys' side too, I mean, there's some promise there too. You know, again, in goal, you know, their senior goalie graduated last year, so hopefully Mitchell Nikorowski can, you know, play a full season this year, and hopefully he can take over as the #1 goalie this year. And there's some good return talent on that team as well. So I'm excited to see what they have to do.
You also covered hockey a few years ago when the Chris
A certain New York Ranger was on the Chieftains
Ranger.
roster. Yeah, he was an electric player back then. You know, I got to see him in the state tournament. It was I believe the 2007 state championship, not state championship, but the state tournament. They were up at the Old Tully Forum up in Chelmsford, and they played against Andover. And I believe Chris had a couple of goals that game. And he's just, you know, and then from there he went to Phillips Andover. And I've seen him skate with the Rangers a few times now, and talked to him in the playoffs.
Don't forget 3 years at Boston College.
3 years at Boston College, and
the IHL as well.
The World Junior Championships. Yeah, he won in 2010. So it was
his Achilles.
2 Boxford residents were champions of the 2010 World Junior Championship. Chris and Ryan Bork. The youngest son of the great Ray Bork.
Yeah, the great one. Almost the great one. To me, Bobby Orr is the great one.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to read his book. I know it's out there. I have to get my hands on it.
So, wow.
And
I think we've covered. Oh no, we forgot about this game.
That game. Yeah, Jim Pugh's team. What can you say? They've had a great lineup all year, but injuries have just hurt them so much. And fortunately, they lost two really good running backs. And I mean, they lost Mackenzie Cashin and Mike Tavinis. That just
both collarbone fractures.
It was just a real tough way to go through the season, but Jim Pugh
Friday
always
night.
takes his games one at a time. He doesn't look back; he looks forward, and he never looks beyond the next game.
Yeah.
So, he went up against Marblehead, and they gave it their best, but it was tough to stop Brooks Terrell.
Yeah, Marblehead was clearly a tough team this year.
And it shows you how good Tewksbury is to beat Marblehead and Gloucester. So in successive weeks.
So how about the Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl in 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there at Gillette Stadium. It was a good time. Just not good enough, of course. Unfortunately, Masconomet lost that year to Marshfield.
Yeah.
And the Chris Splinter and Evan Bunker era of Masconomet football that was there last.
Yeah, you never knew who was going to pass and who was going to run.
Right. Obviously, Chris was the passer. He was a quarterback, and Evan was a halfback. They were a really good duo together, and they were also a duo in basketball and baseball especially.
Yeah.
They led the 2009, their 2010 team to a North title.
Right.
They lost in the semifinal to Duxbury. So, tough games there, but they always took a team really far, and but every year, every year I know Coach Jim Pugh is going to put out a contender. So
and this year
Masconomet just has that much talent.
This year was a good year, as we said. The injuries kind of derailed them, but
I wouldn't say derailed. I mean, they
made it more difficult.
It made it more difficult. Absolutely. I mean, they won their playoff game, their first. They beat Danvers.
Yeah, Danvers 30-0.
Yes. Oh, geez. Yes. I don't know where I was thinking of Gloucester. They're playing Gloucester this week.
They played Friday night. Yeah.
Have to add
past
something to
Friday
that.
night. Yeah.
And but yeah, they beat Danvers 30-0, and there was obviously a great start to the playoffs for them, and then from there, unfortunately they met Marblehead at the wrong time, but yeah, obviously, regardless of whatever's happened this season, they're ready for North Andover on Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah, the turkey is always better when you have a win against them, the mortal enemy.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're meeting North Andover on a bit of a down year. North Andover, last I saw, was 3-5.
Yeah.
And I may not have the most up-to-date record there, but I believe they're 3-5, and they have some good, talented players. But I think Masconomet should have the edge on Thanksgiving
Well,
morning.
hopefully they do. So for aspiring sports journalists, what do you recommend?
If they're at Masconomet, they can certainly join the Masconomet journalism program. We print features from the Masconomet journalism class regularly. They're a great batch of writers. They're some good talent.
In fact, I think I can quickly.
Yep. So the Chieftain Chronicle, too.
Yeah, basically it's generally, this is probably early on, because oftentimes it's 2 pages.
Yeah.
This looks like just a full page here, and maybe a couple of articles running over on the other side. But so you Masconomet students, if you do have a knack for, or want to have a knack for journalism, join
the Masconomet journalism class, and they can, if they're into sports, they can help us out at the transcript. We're always willing to help them out with clips, and also, like I did, if your college has a newspaper, go down there, talk to somebody, and get started. That's how I got started in journalism, was working for the Daily Collegian in Massachusetts.
And so how do you, well, I guess for you it may be a little more scheduled in that you know upcoming games and that sort of thing, so you have a schedule, but for a field reporter that's literally lives with a police scanner in one ear and a cell phone in the other ear,
Right.
it must be difficult to kind of balance the two in the sense of.
Well, when I was a news writer, I mean, there's always, you have to do your features, especially with a weekly newspaper. I mean, features come in, very handy. I mean, they're the lifeblood of the paper. Their lifeblood of a weekly newspaper is in-depth, well-researched, well-interviewed features. That's where the breadth of weekly journalism is.
And that's where I find the TriTown Transcript is so valuable for Boxford, Middleton, and Topsfield, because you don't get much coverage from the Salem News or the Lawrence Eagle Tribune. I would say, as a matter of fact, I think from the Salem News these days, I haven't seen any coverage of Boxford, Middleton, or Topsfield.
Of course, the Transcript is always there for the breaking news, too.
Right.
Anytime a cow wants a beer in the Tri-Town area, we're there to cover it, as Kathryn O'Brien can surely tell you.
Yes. So, and also you have a website.
Yes, wickedlocal.com/Boxford, Topsfield, or Middleton, depending on
if you
which
go to,
town you want to
the
look at.
main page,
You can
select
choose your town. Yep.
And, which is nice, because I always have stories there, and sometimes you will get stories before they actually make it to the paper.
Oh, absolutely, especially with the soccer coverage, covering things like, the North Andover game, the North final. We had a story up within an hour of that game being ended, and I believe a couple hours at most.
Yeah.
But, we usually have a story right after one of those big games, right up on the website. People don't have to wait till the following Friday. So it's right up there on wickedlocal.com.
Okay, so anything else?
Just best of luck to all the Chieftains teams, the football team on Thanksgiving, and the Chieftains teams of the winter and spring.
Yes, and and Boxer Cable TV will obviously be covering as many of these games as we can.
Yes.
And we had a.
And we'll be covering as many games as we can in print and online.
We had a very busy fall.
I
think we covered.
What a busy fall!
I think we covered every sport, including cross country.
Yeah.
And volleyball.
Yeah. And Harry Kent and Megan Collins certainly had good seasons and made it to the All-States this past weekend. Good for them.
Yeah,
so.
I know Harry well.
Yeah.
His brother and I coached for a number of years in soccer, and Harry did indoors with us.
Yeah. He had some good record-breaking runs this year too.
Yeah, he did.
So.
His name will be up on a banner.
Up on the on the record board. Yep.
For breaking the cross country
5K record.
5K record,
Bradley Palmer.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well,
All
hey,
right.
Josh, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Good
it's been a
talking
pleasure.
with
Thank you.
And hopefully have you come back.
Definitely, certainly. Let me know.
Okay. Thanks.